Any questions on this?
Do not be the doer. Don't you plan? Don't you do everything normally? Or sit back?
No, the right way is not to plan because everything's perfect. Let it happen. You'll be guided intuitively. Instead of planning up here, at the right moment, from moment to moment, you will do the exactly right thing. Perfectly.
There is a situation where somebody might take a position of that kind when he hasn't really felt it, and, for example, saying, well, I'll just wait, I'll stay in bed until I'm moved. In the meantime, his rent isn't paid.
So, he'll have to move. If we assume that we are there, and we are not, we are soon awakened to the fact that we are not there. Bob, I'm putting out the top state now, the perfect state, where everything is in absolute harmony every moment. Then you never think, except this very moment. And at this very moment, you know from within just what is the right thing for you to do. So you're guided intuitively each and every moment, and everything falls perfectly into line. All right, now if you're not there, of course you have to think. You have to plan. But this is the goal to strive for, the one that I'm speaking about. This is the top state. You're there, you don't have to plan, you can instantly materialize a palace of gold.
Well, in practice, then, it's probably in the beginning a combination of the two, where things go very easily, and then sometimes you have a hump in which you plan. You plan it out, and then other things. I suppose that would be the gradual development, then.
Use that which is available to you now. If we are in a thinking realm, of course, we have to think. But strive for this top realm. And striving for it, we will sooner or later attain it.
Go ahead.
Would that be the difference between doing by thought or doing by knowing?
Definitely, yes. In the top state, you do by knowing. You just know from moment to moment. It just feels like, I know it. That's just the way it feels. There's no thinking to it. I know it. The word know, as you use it, is the key. You know how that word feels when you say, I know it. There's no doubt, not one iota of doubt there. And it happens. That's the key. That's the realm of knowingness. Make that all the time. Keep working for it until it comes. The quickness in which we attain this is determined by the intensity of the desire for it. The more we desire this top state, the sooner it comes. Everyone makes it eventually. I'm convinced the majority of people on Earth today will probably take 2 million years, even more. But any one of us who are consciously seeking the way out can do it this lifetime. The so-called grace of God is always there also. All those who have made the top grade before us, with their consciousness of perfection being radiated to us, we have tremendous grace being actually pushed our way all the time. However, they have no right to impose themselves. We have to open ourselves to it in order to receive it. We need this grace because of the state of affairs today. Man is relatively low. We are very strongly convinced that we are a limited body, and by long habit we are trying to hold on to it. So it's not easy to let go of this body. And because of that, we need the grace of the great ones who in our eyes have passed on, but in their eyes they're still here. When we recognize that they're still here, we can see them and talk to them the way we talk to each other. Or if we accept them partially, we can talk to them in sort of a dream or a vision, or see them in a way in which they're transparent, you can see through them. But the way we meet with them is determined by our acceptance of them. If any one of us believed that we could go down to a restaurant here and have a cup of coffee with Jesus, the way you believe you could do it with me, if you had that much acceptance, then you could do it. Now, some of us know that he came into this room several times. He gave a sign proportionate to our degree of acceptance. If he were to suddenly appear in the room, it would be too much for most of us to accept. Therefore, he doesn't. But the way he comes to us is determined by our acceptance of him. He gave signs here. He gave signs to some people here, and I don't think they even recognized that he gave a sign. But all the signs were not, say, like me touching you on the shoulder if I came over and touched you. It wasn't that way. But that's only because you can't accept that that could happen with him. The point I'm trying to make now is that we should open ourselves to the help of the great masters. Jesus wants to see each and every one of us know our perfection. He can't force it upon us. But his hand is always extended. It's good to keep this in mind. Then we open ourselves more to the help.
How do we request and receive this help? We have to do something, you say.
We have to be accepting of Jesus as being alive, just as much as we are. Capable of meeting with you the way we meet with you. Then it can happen. We have to be open to the help. The help is always being sent to us.
Are there words to say, thoughts to carry?
Yes. But I can't give them to you. That's up to you. See, I give you the general principle, acceptance of him, the way he is. Don't expect him to be not Christly, because he won't be that. However, he can appear as a very humble human being in form, being omnipresent. At any moment he can appear to anyone and speak with them.
He will be as Christ. It won't be in disguise, will he? The beggar at the door, or...
No.
Oh, I didn't think so. But...
The only disguise is the one that we put on him. He will never disguise himself. He wants to be recognized as Christ. And when I use the word Christ, I mean the principal Christ. That's not his name. His name is Jesus, the Christ. The man Jesus had the Christ consciousness. We have to accept him in his consciousness, which is extreme humility, simplicity, no Hollywood glamour.
A divine humility.
Yes, the greatest humility is through surrender. Not I, but thou. It is not I, but the Father who worketh through me. Everything I do is God God's work, I am not doing it. It's surrender of the ego being the sense of individuality. You've got to surrender yourself as an individual. From where you stand now, the other person should not concern you. The only thing that should concern us is what we do. It matters not what your attitude is toward me. You could hate me with every cell in your body, but it's of extreme importance what my attitude is toward you. While you're hating me, I should love you fully and completely. Then you'll understand the answer to all questions. See, when you separate and then ask what's up here, it just doesn't fit. But when we love and only love, we are using the most formidable power in the universe. No one and no thing can harm us. We can never ever be hurt, unhappy, if we would only just love without any hate. You can never be hurt when you love. Now this is in the sense that the love is full, complete. It's divine love. It's just love with not one bit of hate in it. Turning the other cheek, giving the pants to match, loving your enemy. That's the kind of love it takes. And that's the way we all are, naturally, before we distorted this thing.
And love is understanding.
When you love, you understand the other one fully. It's understanding, it's identifying with the other one, being the other one. Coming down a step, it's wanting the other one to have what the other one wants, loving the other one the way the other one is.
And who is our enemy?
In reality, we have only one enemy, that's ourselves. No one can do anything to us. No one can do anything for us. Someday you'll see this, that we, in our consciousness, determine everything that happens to us.
And that's our idea of ourselves that is our,
Right.
which is incorrect.
Which could be made better. Yes?
When you say understanding, do you mean understanding in a logical sense of understanding the things that move them, or do you mean understanding in an acceptance of them without question of the reasons they're doing things as good or bad, just acceptance of whatever they are in an entirety?
Yeah, it's acceptance in an entirety, but the real understanding requires knowledge of what the universe and the world is. When we see someone doing wrong, we have to know that this is a God being misguided. He's looking for God in the wrong place when he's doing wrong. Am I making sense?
Yes.
That's the understanding.
Which in his mind would be happiness.
He's looking for happiness the way he sees it. Even a Hitler, in his mind, is doing right, and therefore should not be hated, but should be loved, wanting him to be what his real basic nature is. Now this doesn't mean approving of his program, it doesn't. But whether we approve or not of his program, loving and hating are two different things than approving of a program. So we love everyone, see them as misguided beings, Forgive them for they know not what they do. They're like children, misguided.